Alrighty, that was not a good day for the Padres. They lose Xander Bogaerts for weeks. We'll see if he comes back before the end of the regular season. And they lost this game to the Twins 7-4. They had some opportunities to not mess up in the field. And, Crony, who usually is a pretty darn solid defender, one of his big mess ups cost the Padres there in that fourth inning, where that's a double play ball. I know there was no out, so run would have scored anyway, but that's a double play ball. Have to make that play. And instead, couple runs score. Couple runs would have scored after with Larnach, his single, but it would not have been 4 runs. So that was obviously huge. And then you had David Morgan with the meatball, I think to Royce Lewis. Yuki comes into the game, not much better. Wandy wasn't great. That was before, obviously, David Morgan. Nestor only going 3 innings after having a really good outing. That's that. This offense, I think I don't know the right word to say, to be honest, but it sucks, I'll put it that way, that the day after Kevin Acee puts in the UT an article about how, Xander's talking about, now we have a big 9 in this lineup. Then he's out. And then you have Manny continuing to struggle. I know his OPS is 813, and overall you're going to look at that and be like, wow, really good. But it was much better than 813. And today, another offer from him. What is he hitting month of August? 216. I mean, you look at the month of July, he was hitting 333 with an OPS over 1,000. His OPS is almost divided in half this month. Not great. Not great. So now the Padres, they're 75-60. They're still going to be a playoff team. They're still in a good spot. But if we're talking about the division here, beating a team that traded 10 players before the trade deadline, and the only reason Buxton probably didn't get traded is because he said, don't trade me. I have a no trade clause. I'm a Minnesota Twin, and he has a family there and all that. I have family in Minnesota, and I was getting texts don't worry, this bullpen's crap. You might be able to come back here. Yeah, and that was when it was a 5-run deficit. So, yeah, Twins fans, they know that their team is not that great. So, the point is, if you're the Padres, you got to win these games here. Tomorrow, if they don't win, that's definitely a cause for concern because you got Pivetta on the mound, and it's a 61-73 Twins team. If they don't win this series, that's going to be concerning, obviously, and that's going to be very frustrating. Sweeping any big league team is hard to do, and then you do it on the road, that's going to be hard to do. But they should still win this series, no doubt about that. So we'll see if they're able to do that. Now, with the Xander thing, obviously, that's the bigger news because that's not just one game. They're going to be out. Xander's going to be out for a few weeks here. It is a non-displaced fracture in his left foot, the result of a foul ball, I think that Wednesday day game in Seattle. I tweeted out, why and how did this happen? And obviously it's social media, so I got a lot of negative tweets were you not watching? It's I do have another job. It's during the day. No, I did not see that. Sorry. I watch as much as I can. Just like a bunch of other fans probably weren't watching because we were working. But I guess he was fouling a bunch of balls off, and there was that one there that got him. And this really sucks. It's not just Bogey or any Padres players, but around the league. It feels like even these guys with the padding that they have, it still finds a way to hit something that's not padded. You could, Crony, for example, he has so much padding, and it finds that one little spot there that's not padded. And that's just baseball. But, that sucks. Bogey said, couple weeks and looking to be back hopefully right before the regular season ends. That's what I'm trying to hope for. I had the shoulder and came back a little earlier than projected. I'm blessed with some nice bones, so hopefully that can help at this time also. Kevin Acee said, sources familiar with the situation said the expectation is that Bogaerts will be back in time for the postseason. Typical recovery for this type of foot injury is from 3 weeks to 2 months. I read that, I'm like, that's a great timetable. That's a big distance there between early time frame, 3 weeks, and then late, 2 months. If it's the 2 months thing, then we're just not going to see him. If it's 3 weeks, okay, it's End of August right now, 3 weeks puts him at September 19th. Let's just say, he plays the last week of the regular season. Get some at bats there. If that happens, then fine. Because as much as I want to win the division, because I'm not going to sit here and be like, the division totally doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If you get what I'm saying. Like, what I care about is winning a World Series. You don't have to win the division to win the World Series. But obviously, if you want the easier path, then to have the home field, to potentially not have to play in that wild card series, like, yeah, of course, that's what we want. But if Manny's going to continue to not be who he was last month, if this Bogaerts injury is really going to hurt, if they're not going to be able to beat teams like the Twins, then they could find themselves, in one of those wild card spots. Right now, as I'm saying this, I know it's recorded, but Dodgers are losing to the D-backs, so that would be great if things could hold there. And if things hold, then the Padres would still be 2 games back of the Dodgers if the Dodgers lose tonight to Arizona, but we'll see about that. So, it's August 29th, and 2 games, you can still go win the division. And let's think about it. It's not actually 2 games. You have to make up another game because you don't have the tiebreaker. The Dodgers have the tiebreaker. So the point is, yeah, got to play good baseball. Michael King, he did throw 4 innings today, I believe. So he could be coming back next time through in the rotation. Padres do need a starter on Sunday, so we'll see who that ends up being. Will it be Kyle Hart? We'll see. But yeah, frustrating start, obviously, to this Twin series because when you give them runs like they did, Crony there on that double play ball, and then just some batting practice pitches. And it was another game where the Padres, you see them not using Mason Miller, Jeremiah Estrada, the big 5. David Morgan, I'd include in that to be a big 6, but you go look at the bullpen chart that I put out every day, right? And tomorrow you'll see that in the morning, and it will be the bottom of the bullpen that got the pitches in. That's not what you want to see. So tomorrow and Sunday, hopefully these aren't the guys that are going to be pitching. Now, in terms of this being a team, that's great that these guys picked up innings in not an ideal game for the Padres, right? They were down 7-2 at one point. So yeah, you're not going to go with your best relievers there. I get that. So there's that where these guys in the bullpen, they help keep those guys rested and all that. But you're facing the Twins. I just don't want to be giving up that many runs to the Twins. And it's a major league team. 7 runs that you allow, it's going to be a hard time winning a baseball game. So hopefully that does not continue. With Bogaerts out, if we want to talk about the effect of the Bogey injury, he was not having the June, July that he had, right? In the month of August, his average was down to 241. In the month of July, it was 295, and then 290 the month before that. OPS was below 700. OPS was pretty close to 800 in June and July. So I'm definitely not saying it's good news. I want Bogey in the lineup. I want him at shortstop because that means that Iglesias can give Manny a day. There's the flexibility there. But at least he doesn't get hurt here when he's in the middle of a heater and he's one of the best hitters on the team, right? So at least there's that. But regardless, even if you compare his August to Iglesias, and I know it's limited playing time for Iglesias, but Iglesias has a 188 average and a 631 OPS, and Bogaerts was at 691 OPS, 241 average. Iglesias' on base was better, but we know, who would you rather have in there? Power-wise, definitely potential. Just as a baseball player, I'd rather have Bogaerts in the lineup over Jose Iglesias. That's just how it is. And Mason McCoy got brought up. There's Will Wagner. Who would you rather have? We all know the answer. So it's a blow. But if we want to try to look at this positively, without Jackson Merrill, if I remember correctly, the Padres, they've been able to win a good amount of games here. Without guys this season, they've been able to kind of well, clearly they're still like 15 games over 500. They've been able to keep the ship afloat. So hoping that that is going to be the case, obviously. With Jackson Merrill, he might return at some point here in this Twin series. So if you swap Merrill for Bogaerts, like at least there's that in the lineup. But it's not like Merrill was doing great before he got hurt. So we'll see. But we know the talent is there, and obviously you'd rather have Merrill in there than. Although Gavin Sheets, like, we'll give him credit, he has actually been hitting. Um, he's doing pretty good. So that will be interesting once Merrill comes back. Like what the role is for Gavin Sheets. His last 7 games, he's hitting 435. Got a couple of ribbies, a homer, 10 hits, 5 runs scored. So what will happen there? Because obviously you got Ryan O'Hearn that you probably want to be playing still too. And Laureano, you're not going to want to take him out. You want to put him in left. Tatis, obviously, we know he's in there. So good problem to have. Good problem to have if you're Mike Schilt for sure. But hopefully they can get back on track tomorrow with Pivetta on the mound.